When getting yourself set up for the ring rows, a couple things to keep in mind before you start doing this. You want to have the rings about shoulder width to the top of your rib cage, or width. I meant height. Sorry, guys. From your shoulders to the top of your rib cage. The lower it goes, the harder it'll be because you'll be closer to the floor. So if you're new with this, I would go more the shoulder height, if not eye level. And especially if we are still working on some lat development or anything like that, if we're not quite ready for this position, go more at eye level with those rings. Get them set. With your feet, you want to start with your feet underneath the rings. So if Chelsea would have let go of the rings, you would have seen where that arrow is directly down are her feet. To make it a little more challenging, you can step your feet a couple steps forward. Again, that will give you more of an angle, get you closer to the floor to make this even harder. But starting with your feet directly underneath the rings to start with is really good to do. If you're not feeling that, if you don't feel comfortable in that position, start with your feet a little bit then in the opposite direction. Again, that will make it a little bit easier to build yourself into it. Before you come into this position that Chelsea's in, when you get your grip on the rings, you get your feet set, get your brace then. So get yourself in a neutral spine. You want to have that rib cage down, hips underneath you, breathe into that belly and back, and lower yourself down into this position. Don't just completely drop into it. That's not good to do. Control yourself down and lower yourself into this position. So when you get set, you'll see here, you can kind of tell that Chelsea already has that lat area retracted. That is where you're going to pull from here. Not with those traps and not with the hips. Just in this position. Just with those lats. You want to think about keeping that entire body one solid board. Don't let, as you're coming up or down, that hip drop or the traps contract. Just focus on keeping the entire body from shoulder to heel, one stiff board. So watch Chelsea get her breath in this position. Go back just a couple seconds. So, oops, a little too far. So watch that belly. You see how that inflates? So that's her getting that breath into the belly. She's getting her brace. So she gets her breath, breathes into that belly, supports herself, holds it as she retracts, pulls herself up to the rings, and then as she lowers back down, she continues to hold that brace. Look how solid she is. Good. So when she comes into this position, you notice how she keeps that belly tight. This is nice and flat. She keeps that pressure going. This is nice and flat. She doesn't let everything just drop. Hold yourself in this position. Now, when you hit here at between reps, you can certainly reset, but don't just fall into that back position. Reset, ribs down, breathe. See, she gets that nice breath again into that belly and pulls herself up and supports herself on the way back down. Sorry guys, my finger went a little quick on that one. Pulls herself right back down. And that's what you want to do on all of them. Just like other movements, if it feels way too difficult to do the prescribed reps, lower them. You can do different things to help make this a little bit easier at first, depending on how comfortable you are with the position, how your brace is, how strong you are at the moment. I know when I started with this, I could do like 4 the first time, and then the next time I tried to hit that 6, which I did. Every time I tried to go a little bit more. So, you can make the adjustment with the ring height, you can make the adjustment with your feet, but you can also lower the reps. That's completely acceptable. It's all about good position, holding that brace, and retracting with that scap.